Hi, I'm Ross Pisani, one of the ABTs for RICHS Products Corporation. Today we'll be shooting a training video on proper handling and decorating practices for donuts. The first step when you're getting ready to heat donuts is to grab your tray, whether it be a full sheet tray or a half sheet tray lined with parchment paper. Here's a tray with the yeast ring donut, chocolate cake donut, and the plain cake donut. Today we're going to be grabbing donuts out of the freezer, the plain cake donut. Donuts are always kept in the freezer from baking and put back in the freezer when done. One thing to keep in mind when you're storing your donuts, always make sure the bag is sealed to keep from any foreign material entering the bag. We're going to open our bag and take out what we need for the day and put it on the tray lined with paper. When you're done with the donuts, it's always important to put them right back in the freezer. They do thaw quickly, so you want to put them right back in the freezer after you tray it. And again, make sure to always keep your bag sealed up. Place it back in the freezer. The next step in donuts is to have the oven preheated to 325 degrees. We're going to then take our donuts that we need for the day and place them into the oven. Keep in mind that we're not baking the donuts, we're merely just heating up the donuts. Into the oven they go at 325 for 2 to 3 minutes. The next step after the donuts have been in a 325 degree oven for 2 to 3 minutes, we're going to prepare for icing or glazing or plain donuts. If you're looking to just do plain donuts, take whatever flavors you want. To keep plain for your display case, set them aside. If you decide to do sugar donuts, you take your donut, roughly toss it in the sugar, very delicately coat it around, shake off any excess, put it on your drip tray. If you're going to do a honey dip donut, the honey dip glaze, unlike the chocolate and vanilla icing, doesn't require any heating. Just give it a good stir. Take your donut, put it in roughly about halfway. You do not need to submerge the donut, and you're going to place it on your drip tray. The purpose of the drip tray is to let the gravity of the icing flow down the side of the donut and catch on the bottom so you don't puddle the icing on the donut. With the chocolate and vanilla icings, we preheated these icings in the microwave to about 115 degrees. It takes roughly 30 to 40 seconds. What you're looking for is a shiny glaze like this that will roll off a spoon or a spatula like so. We're going to do a chocolate dipped donut. We'll take the donut, put it in the icing. Again, don't need to submerge it, just need to place it in there. Grab the dry edge, shake off any excess, and place on your rack to let gravity take the icing over the side. If you're doing vanilla icing, it's the same process in dipping your donut in the vanilla, place on your drying rack. The next step we're going to show is how to further decorate donuts if you so choose. We're going to do a donut decorated with sprinkles and a donut decorated with another color of icing. Check with your manager prior to doing these steps to get approval to make these kind of donuts. First donut we're going to do is chocolate glazed donut with a drizzle of vanilla icing. We've iced our donut in chocolate. Now we've taken the vanilla icing, heated it again to 115 degrees. You can use a spatula, or I like to use a fork. You've got your 115 degree icing. I simply just get some of the icing on the fork and then just let it fall off the fork over the donut, waving it back and forth. If you need to dip it again, feel free to do so. The other step would be to do a donut with sprinkles. We've got our heated donuts. Donuts are still hot out of the oven from 325 degrees. We're going to dip just like we did before, and we're going to coat it with sprinkles. Dip, put it on your rack, and then add sprinkles. It's important to add the sprinkles right as soon as you dip before the icing sets, so the sprinkles adhere to the icing. The last and final step for your donuts is placing them in your donut case. We've got our trays lined with our paper. We've got our donuts. Donuts have set for about 10 to 15 minutes. gave time for the icing to harden on top of the donuts. We're going to take each flavor donut, place it on its individual tray. Make sure to check with your manager on what tag to use per donut. Each donut has its own tray, so we'll put the chocolates with the chocolates and the plains with the plains. Again, check with your manager on what tag to use in your case. Line your donuts up on your tray, individually flat. Do not shingle them so you don't damage any of the icing. Your donuts, once your trays are filled to what you need for the day, they're ready to be put in your case. The shelf life on your donuts is 1 day. After 1 day, donuts can be removed. Now that our donuts are ready for the case, we'd like to close in saying thank you from RICHS Products Corporation. If you have any further questions or needs, reach out to your manager. In return, they will reach out to us and we can help you out with any needs you may have. Thank you.